charisma will get you to a certain point in the process. Don't get me wrong. Being charismatic is not a bad thing. However, being systematized with charisma will get you much farther than your charisma alone. And wait a minute, Vic, I'm not very charismatic. Will this work for me? And you guys, this is what's great. I've seen some of the top salespeople out here in the world who aren't charismatic, but they're very systematized. They're very process oriented. They do better because they're like, cool, we'll just do this and we'll do this and we'll do this. And Vic said, don't talk in a monotone voice. So I got to. So is it better to be charismatic? No. Is it better to be introverted? No. So let's see where you stand. 5-question quiz, really simple. You're going to say, am I number 1 or number 2? If you're number 1 or number 2, I'll tell you to give yourself a score at the end, and we'll go from there. Let's get started, baby. So the first question is it a good time to sell, right? If a prospect asks you, is it a good time to sell? And your response is something like, oh my God, we probably need to meet. Let me give you all the market stats. Let me teach you everything. Let's create a game plan to get your home on the market. Blah, blah, blah. Immediately go for the appointment. What do you think? Say 2 o'clock or 6 o'clock better, right? And you start to tell them as much as you can about the market on the phone and all that stuff. Or are you number 2? And you say, Tim, I was wondering, why are you thinking about selling, right? So number 1 or number 2? Number 1 or number 2? The second question, we talked to another agent and they said they could do it for less. So you're in a presentation, you just finished your listing appointment, and the prospects say, we talked to another agent, and they say we can do it for less. Can you match that? And your first response is, I can appreciate that. However, if I can't negotiate my own pay, how can I negotiate on your behalf? So unfortunately, we don't discount our commissions. Second option is, Chris, I was curious, what do you mean by that? Option number 1, option number 2. The third question is, I want to list my house for 5% more than what you recommended, or I want to list for $50,000 over the range of what we had discussed. Okay? Option 1 is, sure, no problem. I can appreciate that you want to get the most out of your house, and we can totally list it for any price that you want. Option number 2 is, I guess I'm just a little bit curious here. You had told me that originally you had wanted to be out of your home in 90 days. And if we choose aspirational pricing and your home doesn't sell in the 90 days, would you be okay with that? Option 1, option 2, option 1, option 2. Number 4, why should we hire you as our listing agent, right? So the client asks, the prospect asks, why they should hire you. Option 1, you say, well, I don't even know yet if I can help you. It might be appropriate for me to ask a few more questions to see if I am the right person to get your home sold. Okay, option 1. Option 2 is, I am the best company in the world. We're with so-and-so company. We do $100 trillion a year in sales. My team does 400 transactions a year. We have a 78,000 point marketing system, and you continue on that path. We sold 600 homes in your neighborhood, and that's why you should hire me. I have the best service, the best team, the best photographer, da-da-da-da-da. That's why you should hire me, right? Option 1, option 2. Option 1, option 2. The last question is, you do your listing appointment, and the seller says, well, you know, Vikram, I really liked you, but we're thinking about going with another agent. And you say, option 1, well, I can understand that. I can understand that. Can I show you my 77-point marketing plan again? And let me tell you about how we got this house sold and that house sold. And let me show you what my Facebook, right? Remember, I have like 77,000 people on Facebook, and on Instagram, I also have 92,000. Like, I'm one of the most, famous realtors in the area. Option 1 and option 2. Jimbo, I hear you, and I know, and I don't know that I am the best option for you. It might be appropriate. It might be appropriate for me to ask a couple of questions on why you're leaning towards that other agent. Okay, option 1, option 2, option 1, option 2. So let's go back and score here, right? Let's go back and score. So for question number 1, right? If you chose option 1, right, we should probably meet to discuss, and you start going into, super salesy, give yourself 1 point. Question number 2, same thing. If you chose option number 1, right, where you say, I can appreciate that, give yourself 1 point. I can appreciate that. However, I can't negotiate my own pay. How can I negotiate yours, right? So if you chose option number 1, give yourself 1 point. Question number 3, I want to list my home 5% more or for $50,000 more than the recommended range. And you say, sure, no problem. I can appreciate that. We can absolutely do that. I know you want to net the most amount of money. No problem. Give yourself 1 point. Question number 4, if you chose option number 2, right? We had to throw it. We had to mix it up a little bit. Option number 2, give yourself 1 point, where it's, I have the best company, I have the best team, I have the best systems, I have the best sales, I have the best processes, right? You're just talking about how great you are. Give yourself 1 point. And so question number 5, if you chose option number 1, give yourself 1 point. Well, I can understand, but let me tell you about my marketing plan, right? You go right back into the sales pitch, give yourself 1 point. So here's what we know. The higher your score, the more you come across as commission breath, the more you come across as needy, the more you come across as salesy and pushy, right? Even though you might be really nice and they might really like you, the higher your score, the more you come across as a salesperson, all right? The more you come across as a salesperson. When you say, I can appreciate that, right? Where did you learn to say, I can appreciate that? You probably learned it from a coaching company. You probably learned it from a real estate coach, right? And when you say, I can appreciate that, like, can you really appreciate when a seller says, I want you to lower your commission, or I want you to raise, I want to raise the price of what you and I agreed was fair based off of the competition, right? Because positioning is all about competition. It's not about the comps, it's about the competition, because the past sales don't matter. It's what's on the market today. And so when you say, I can appreciate that, and then we automatically know there's going to be a rebuttal versus getting curious and asking questions. So when we say things like, I have the best this, I have the best that, it's focused on who? It's focused on the prospect, or it's focused on you, the salesperson? Oh, it's focused on you, the salesperson. When you say, I'm the best, you're talking about me. When I say I, it's all about me. So when you are focused on yourself, you are bringing the level of fear and anxiety, pressure higher. So even though you might not be high pressure, if you were to go back and listen to your tone and the speed of how you talk, when you start saying I, it actually goes up. Your tone goes up, your speed, right? It increases, your jitteriness increases, right? Fight or flight, you're in fight. You're fighting for that listing. I need the money, Vikram. We need this deal. Oh, we have to get this. We only have one appointment this week and it's Friday. We have to get this sale. Well, you can prospect on Saturday and Sunday, y'all. Just in case you didn't know, you can prospect Saturday and Sunday too. So the higher your score, the more salesy you come across, the more pushy you come across, and the more you're going to repel your prospect. Because what happens when you chase somebody? They run away. What happens when you stop and you just get into a conversation? Well, they want to come closer. If you go on a date, all right, for those single, or remember when they were single, when you go on a date, the person who talks the most typically comes out of the date saying, wow, I really like that person. The person who listened the most actually gets to decide whether they want to continue dating that person or not. So if you talk a lot, right? If you talk a lot, or if you don't learn the skills of tonality and body language, right? You will come across as interrogation mode, which we want you to be an investigator, but I want you to be an interrogator. I don't want you to seem scripted. I want you to become natural. So if your score was high, that's awesome. Congratulations. Now you know why you're not making the sales that you want to make. And that's totally dope. That's amazing. If your score is lower, that means you're already on the right path. So it's amazing, no matter where you're at, by learning advanced skills, right? By learning the tonality, by learning the pace, by learning how to use your body language, when to swing up, when to swing down, right? When to be assertive, or when to be like a little, high pitched. When you learn those and you master those, you will see your sales increase. You'll see your prospects having better results, and you will see your pay go up. So I'm really excited that you were here with us on this quiz, and I hope it was insightful, right? I hope it helped maybe bring out some of the things that you were taught, which probably work, but it's more of a numbers game versus a skills game. Like, let's get our numbers up, but let's not make it a numbers game.